back, guys. So I've been um, going over. I had to skip some few chapters, but chapter 10, starting at page 68, is quite interesting because now J.F. Rutherford, now he starts talking about other religions, right? The hypocrisy in other religions, especially other Christian religions, right? So and I found it quite amusing. The things that he was saying about other religions, like it doesn't apply to the Jehovah Witness religion, right? But chapter 10, titled Hypocrisy Exposed, right? This is page 68 of the Light Book. That was published in 1930 by J.F. Rutherford, right? But he goes on to say, the greatest instrument for the practice and work of hypocrisy is that which is called religion, right? Then he goes on to say, hypocrisy came to void by and through the devil's religion. It was in the days of Enoch that Satan began to mock and reproach God by inducing men to form an organization and to call themselves by the name of the Lord. Sound familiar? The beginning of Satan's earthly organization was called Baal or Babylon, which means the gate to God, that is, Satan, the God of this wicked world. But I like how he started off by saying the greatest instrument for the practice and work of hypocrisy is that which is called religion. So he already justified, right, that religion is that they practice a lot of hypocrisy in religion. He justified that, right? But he's trying to make it seem like all these other religions. When I read this chapter, he's trying to make it seem like all these other religions are false. They're all man-made, right? But this religion, because he's the second president of the Watchtower and Tract Society, he trying to make it seem like this religion, the Jehovah Witness religion, is clean, but all these other Christian religions are false, from the devil, they're man-made, but this one is pure, right? Oh boy. So page 69, right? He goes on to say, to represent God when in office, a man must be entirely honest and true. Instead of pursuing an honest course of action, men installed in such offices become hypocrites. Go figure. A hypocrite is one who plays a part with a dishonest motive. He feigns to be good when he is in fact bad. He is a pretender to piety, virtue, and honesty. He is a deceiver, a cheat, and a fraud. See, once again, he's talking about these other Christian religions, right? Saying how these people are frauds, these people in high offices, high places of religion, they put on this facade, right? And he's making it seem like everybody else is bad, all these other Christian religions, you know. He says something interesting on page 70. Oh, okay. The clergy class of the Jews, made up of the priests, the prophets, scribes, Pharisees, and Sadducees, now he's talking about back in the day, were the chief offenders against God. They claimed to be servants of Jehovah God, but their service of him was in form only. Jesus told them that they were of their father, the devil, and were doing the devil's will and not Jehovah's will and service. Okay. What else? Right. So, if you fast forward to 72. Sorry, guys, I'm on break at work, so I'm just trying to go over the good points, good portions there. So 72, right? Page 72. He goes on to say, the name Christian or Christianity is wrongfully applied to all people who claim to be followers of Christ, but who is in fact are not. Feigning to be followers of Christ and taking a contrary course It's a practice of hypocrisy, right? Claiming to be a Christian and at the same time supporting the devil's organization is the greatest hypocrisy of all, and therefore great whoredom within the meaning of the scriptures, right? Feigning to be the followers of Christ and taking a contrary course is the practice of hypocrisy. This is what he says, right? Doesn't the modern day governing body leaders, don't they do that? And you know what's funny? As you guys, most of you guys may notice this, the governing body leaders, they don't even talk about Christ that often, right? They do this for a reason, because they have taken over. They have pretty much, they tried to replace Christ. It's Jehovah, then the governing body leaders, right? When in reality, it's supposed to be Jehovah and Jesus, right? But it's Jehovah, governing body leaders, and Jesus is, he's third. But you guys notice, they don't talk about Christ. The only time they talk about Christ is mainly during the memorial, right? But the governing body, they have really tried to take over. Big time. Big time. Well, I have another... So, 76, page 76, right? The ending of the bottom, the ending paragraph of 76 says, they make great claims, right? He's still talking about the clergyman, he's talking about pretty much any other prophet, anybody else who claims to be a servant of God that's not a Jehovah's Witness, right? So he goes on to say, they make great claims to honesty and insist that public officials and others be honest. And at the same time, they are parties to cruel and oppressive schemes that burden the people. But the governing body leaders, they don't do that, right? Anywho, he continues, they have the outward appearance of purity, sound familiar, and try to impress the people with their own purity, and yet they constantly support devilish schemes to bring oppression, suffering, and death upon the people. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? I'm going to read that ending part again. J.F. Rutherford says, and yet they constantly support devilish schemes to bring oppression, suffering, and death upon the people. He's talking about people in other religions, right? High up, popes, clerks, whatever. He's talking about all these other peoples in other religions, right? Saying that they support devilish schemes to bring oppression, suffering, death upon people. He's describing the governing body leaders. The governing body leaders, they suppress people. People are suffering because of the governing body leaders, right? They tell witnesses, oh, don't pursue secular education. The end is right around the corner. That's why there's a lot of witnesses struggling right now, right? A lot of witnesses are struggling financially, economically, right? They can't. They're trying. They have enough just to make ends meet, because they're listening to governing body leaders that's telling them, oh, don't try to excel in life. Just be all right with the bare minimum, because the end is right around the corner, right? And this is comical. So he said, and yet they constantly support devilish schemes. Remember, he's talking about other religions, right? The higher ups in other religions. He's saying they constantly support devilish schemes to bring oppression. I already talked about that. The suffering, I talk about that, right? And death upon the people. Now, death. Governing body leaders encourage people to pretty much commit suicide. When it comes to taking life-saving blood, that's frowned upon, right? They encourage death. They encourage you to take your life. And we know that's not in the scriptures at all. They twist the scriptures to suit their needs, right? So for J.F. Rutherford to put this in here, now I see why this is old light. This is old light. And mind you, the title of this chapter is called Hypocrisy Exposed. He's talking about, he's trying to expose the hypocrisy in other religions. What about the hypocrisy in the Jehovah's Witness religion? He's talking about death, suffering, and oppression from other religions. This religion is causing death, suffering, and oppression. People are dying. People are suffering because of 9 men in upstate New York, right? This is why this book is obsolete. This book is no longer good. It's no longer valid. Because all this stuff that he's talking about, right? All this stuff he's talking about in his book, he's trying to expose, he's trying to make fun of and make like the other religions are wicked, and the Jehovah Witness religion is pure and clean, right? That's what he's doing. When in reality, he's exposing his own religion. That's what he's doing. There was one more point I wanted to bring out. Okay, page 88. All right, the bottom paragraph says, organized Christianity has turned its ear away from the Lord, or Word of God, and adopted modernism as its doctrine, and the League of Nations as its kingdom. And he puts in quotes, he that turneth away his ear from hearing the law of God, even his prayer is an abomination. The leaders of Christendom, to wit, the clergy, love to pray in public assemblies and to speak flattering titles and to receive praise of men. And this is likewise an abomination in the sight of God. So that last part, we'll read that last part one more time. The leader of the Christendom, to wit, the clergy, they love to pray in public assemblies and to speak flattering titles and to receive praises of men. And he's saying that's an abomination of God, right? So he's saying people, they speak out publicly in God's name, right? And they have these flattering titles. So he's pretty much calling them hypocrite. Isn't that what the governing body leaders do? They speak out in public, right? They give their sermons at the assemblies and conventions, and they pretend like they're giving that, like this information is from God, right? What I said in the last video, we have all these titles, right? CEO, elders, governing body leaders. People like to flatter themselves, right? So he's saying this about clergy, about popes, about people in other religions, right? He's saying this about people that are so-called in Babylon the Great, right? Any other religion that's not Jehovah's Witness is considered Babylon the Great, right? So all these other people could preach and speak in public, and they're hypocrites because they don't serve the true God Jehovah. According to J.F. Rutherford, right? They're hypocrites. But anyone that's a witness, the governing body leaders, they could do that, right? They could get away with putting on a persona, putting on a front, and saying, "Oh, this information is from God," and every other religion is wicked and bad and horrible, right? They get away with it, but yet when anybody and everybody else doesn't, they're wicked, right? So far, what I discovered is that J.F. Rutherford, he really has exposed his own religion. And for him to mock other religions, if you have to put other religions down just to make yours shine brighter, then that should have been a huge red flag for any witness back in the day. Any witness that read this book back in the day, any witness that applied by these rules by J.F. Rutherford, right? That shouldn't have been a huge red flag. And it's funny how everything that he's saying, right, in this chapter, Hypocrisy Exposed, chapter 10, everything that he was saying about these other religions applies to the Jehovah's Witness religion. Even more so, because people have really died from this religion, from the no blood policy. People are suffering, like I said before, because they don't encourage secular education, right? They want you to suffer or work at fucking McDonald's or a greeter at Walmart, right? All these crappy, shitty jobs, right? But it's sad. It's sad, but you guys see why this is old light, right? Because in reality, he is exposing his own religion without even knowing about it, right? All right, guys. I might make a part 3 later I have other books as well, so I have other books, but I really wish witnesses could have, get their hands on this book and have a look for themselves as to the old, like the stuff that the second the second president of the Watchtower and Tract Society, what he had to say about other religions, but it also applies to his own religion, to their own religion to this day, right? Guys, I'll see you in the next video.